Hello chess friends and welcome to Jozarov's chess channel and welcome to my Basics in Chess series. So in this series we follow opening principles, middle game strategies and the endgame strategies. Today we're continuing with some opening principles again. Today we're talking about the prophylaxis in the opening. So the prophylaxis is sort of a guarding or preventing move in which you're restricting your opponent's ability to play. Not that this move only improves your position, it is preventing your opponent to do the same. So basically with this prophylactical move we're not allowing our opponent to maybe to create some pawn breakthroughs, spinning ideas and many of these tactical possibilities in an early stage of the game, because if he makes that move it could lead maybe to simplifications, to some dangerous threats and similar ideas, and that's why you should prevent such a scenario and try to do this prophylactical move. So let's see now a couple of examples of this very important opening principles. So the first instructive game that I wanted to show you, it's a game played by Laszlo Szabo against Olaf Barda, and here you see Black has prepared here with the move bishop on e6, the move d5, which could really lead to simplifications, and then Black can really have maybe a good diagonal here for the dark bishop if this pawn gets mobile. So you see Black has already played sort of a prophylactical move himself, because he's not allowing White to play here knight on g5 attacking the bishop. So if Black loses this bishop in an early stage of the game, that could be really dangerous, because then White could get use of his light bishop. So that's why this d5 idea to get a pawn breakthrough immediately is really sort of a simplification idea and leads really to equality. So that's why Laszlo Szabo played here the move b5. You see knight on d4 is very dangerous for Black, because here knight on d2 can be played, and after potential d5 we're considering always here the d5 move, which is the main strategical idea of Black. Then e3 is very dangerous, you have to go somewhere with your knight, you have only the square f5, and now after c takes d5, knight takes, bishop takes, and now e4, and you lose a piece and eventually the game. So see, very nice move so far by Laszlo Szabo here with the move b5, forcing really Black to go really on a natural square on b8. Knight on c5, knight on a5 is also not so dangerous, because we have some bishop on d2 ideas, and then you have to support this knight with the move b6, and then this diagonal will be very dangerous for Black, because the light square bishop would be deadly. So here in the continuation, knight on b8 was played, as I said, and now knight on d2. Let's consider again the move d5 here for Black in order to simplify the position. Then c takes d5, knight takes, and now bishop on b2. Here if you take, bishop takes on c3, and now bishop on d5. It seems again that Black's position can get simplified, but now knight on c4 is very powerful. You see we're attacking this e5 pawn, and you have to do something eventually like f6, but it again weakens the light squares, and you see this bishop is blocked out by its own pawn. So you see this d5, okay, the position is much more simplified, but it's a better position here for White. So after knight on d2, queen on c8 was played. You see here of course White's target is here the pawn on b7, so that's why queen on c8, but also here to trade off maybe with the move bishop on h3, this light square bishop, because the light square bishop is the best minor piece of White's. Again and again, Laszlo Szabo played a very nice prophylactic move. He played the move rook on e1. If bishop on h3, you see we can simply play bishop on h1, because we don't have any more the rook, so we don't have to trade off this light square bishops anymore, but still we're staying on this very nice diagonal here and targeting our b7 pawn. So here in the continuation, after rook on e1, rook on d8 was played, again with the preparation to push the pawn on d5, and again Laszlo Szabo plays a very nice prophylactic move. He plays the move knight on a4. Let's consider again this d5 move. So after the move d5, we have a very nice move, knight on c5. You see, now we are attacking this bishop on e6 from the left side, of course from the queen side, because our idea was, as I said, to play maybe knight on g5, but here that wasn't possible because of this h6 pawn. So now knight on c5. If you try something like bishop on g4, you see now finally we can take. After knight takes on d5, queen on b3 would be very dangerous, and you would be forced to do maybe moves as c6, but this weakens again your queen side. After potential the b takes c6, you have to take even with the pawn, because then the b7 pawn would be hanging. You're continuing the game with a very weak pawn on c6, so that's why again this d5 move is not possible. So see how Laszlo Sabo in every move prevented this d5 move, although it has to be calculated, of course, very well. But you see d5 after knight on c5, still you have really also an endangered bishop, because there are also possibilities to play f3 and then even e4. So after the move knight on a4, here we have knight on d7, and now you see very important move b6. Also very interesting idea after potential trades of pawns. It's not good for black here, because you see again we're continuing the game with the weak b7 pawn. So after b6, c5 was played, and this is now Laszlo Sabo's preparation. Now the position has changed, and basically what black has created here in the position are two weaknesses. Here, first of all, we have this d6 pawn that's very weak, and also a very weak d5 square. So if we could occupy this d5 square, it could be a very pleasant game here for white. So here knight on e4 was played, you see, targeting the d6, so that's why knight on f8 was played. Again, white is preventing this d5 idea of black. So here knight on c3. Again, you see, if you try to push here the pawn on d5, it leads now into a new position in which we have a weak c5 pawn and a weak e5 pawn. Okay, we could just trade off some pieces, but here after let's imagine this position, you see this pawn on c5 is very weak. We can attack it with bishop on a3, rook on c1, and similar ideas. So that's why after knight on c3, here bishop on h3 was played. Again, black's idea to trade off this very annoying bishop on g2, but okay, here bishop on h1. As I said, we got out with this rook. We went with the rook here on e1, and now we don't have to trade off this slice for bishop. Bishop on d7 was played. You see knight on b5, very nice move, and now bishop on c6. You see black is going the other way around. He wants to trade off this bishops on c6, and now very nice move here by Laszlo Sabo. You see the fork here on the queen and the bishop. Knight takes on c6, knight takes on c6, but now knight on c3, and now we have accomplished what he wanted. Now we can cement our knight on d5, and here after knight takes on d5, bishop takes on d5, this bishop is basically unchallengeable. It controls really the light course, and I'm not going to show you the whole game. I just hope you realize that Laszlo Sabo played a very nice prophylactical set of moves. He has now occupied the d5, and d5 will never be possible again for black. Still, we have some possibilities to create some pawn breaks with e3, f5, and try to open the positions for the bishop. So I'm gonna send you the whole game in the description below, so you can analyze the whole game for yourself. Every example that I use in this video will be then in the description below, so you can really see these positional battles for yourself at home. So let's see now another game. It was a game played by Petrosyan. Here it was a great game because his opponent played the move a6, and now you see, of course, black's idea is to play the move b5. Again, we're playing a prophylactical move. You can pause the video and try to find maybe now the best continuation for yourself, and it's of course a very nice positional idea. It comes also with a nice tempo, and it's the move bishop on b6. Here of course you get a tempo, because the queen has to retreat here on e7. If you try something like knight on c7, it always comes with some pinning ideas. You see, you have to make many moves in order to unpin your knight, and that's why black's idea would be bad here, to place the knight on c7. You cannot play freely with your queen, because after potential knight on e2, you see always we have this very nice position here on the c file. So in the continuation, queen on e7 was played, and again Petrosyan plays a very nice prophylactic move. He plays the move rook on e1, because in these types of position, let's flip the board. Of course, black's idea is of course sometimes to push the pawn on f5 to create a pawn breakthrough. It's sort of a King's Indian style here, and f4, and open the position, really create this common King's Indian attack. But now with rook on e1, we are also preventing this scenario, because we could push the pawn on f4 and open the position, because we have always this discovered attack possibilities by the rook on the queen. So rook on e1, very nice prophylactic here by Petrosyan. Here bishop on h6, and now f4, simply opening the position, f6, and now a4, also very important idea, with the preparation to push the pawn even further here on a5. And then if we manage to do that, black will never be able to push the pawn here on b5, because then we can take with en passant, and then black would have this weak a6 pawn. So you see, it's really sort of a boa constrictor game here played by Petrosyan, not allowing his opponent to breathe at all, to develop his pieces. Look at these knights there on the back rank, the rooks are on the back rank. Bishop has maybe a good activity, but basically what you want to do from white's perspective is to get out of the range here of the bishop. So here f4, perfectly fine. Rook on c4, you see black is trying to desperately get somehow into the game, but now after f takes e4, f takes e4, the position has changed. We have now a blocked center here. The dynamics is off here in the center, so that's why basically white has a completely better position, because he has a better activity with his pieces. Rook on f1 was played, simply getting use of this very nice f file. Rook on c8 was played, and now king on h2. You see Petrosyan is simply improving the position. Bishop on g5, queen on f3, we have h5, and now a5. As I said, fixing here this bishop on b6. We have knight on h7, rook on f2, knight on f6, and now queen on e2. We have g4, you see h4 and g4, you see simply passing through. And here bishop on f4, it seems like a good idea, but here after knight takes on f4, we have e takes f4, and now queen on d2, very interesting idea. Now we want to take, of course, this pawn on f4, and then this d6 would be the target. g5, you see bishop on d4, so Petrosyan is using now his bishop very actively here. Rook on f8 was played, and now rook on e1, of course, with the preparation to push the pawn here on e5. Bishop on g4, now e5, very nice, opening the position. Rook bishop takes on e5. Here we have queen on c5, and again, I'm not going to show you the whole game. This is completely better here, because black doesn't have any more this darks for bishop, and this darks for bishop of white is now deadly. This game is also in the description below, so you can analyze again the whole game for yourself. Very nice positional play here by Tigran Petrosyan. He opened the position basically when he wanted. Now with his bishop pair on the board, black's king is really in danger. So let's see now again another positional brilliancy here by Petrosyan. Here his opponent tried to move c5, and here Petrosyan played a very interesting idea. He played the move a3. After c takes d4, we see Petrosyan plays a takes b4. So if we play something like knight takes on d4, then after bishop on c3 and b takes c3, this is really sort of an imbalanced position for white, and white is continuing the game with this c3 weak pawn. So here after a takes b4, and we have here d takes c3, knight takes on c3. Now it's a very good position for white here, because we can always play sort of prophylactic move here, b5, not allowing black to advance the pawn here on a5, because this a7 is the main weakness now in black's position, because we have opened the file, and with this bishop pair it's very dangerous here. So as said, this b4 idea, and then after that b5 will be also prophylactical idea here by Petrosyan in order to make a very nice attack on the queen side. If we trade off the queens, it doesn't matter. Basically we have accomplished that we have occupied the d file, so that's why here in the continuation knight on c6 was played, and now b5. Again, if you try something like knight on a5 in order to in order to cement the knight here, we can play simply bishop on e2, or here even bishop on a2, and this knight will never get out. Again, this knight on a5 will be very passive, so that's why here his opponent tried knight on e5, we have bishop on e2, and now queen on c7, we have e4, improving the position. Rook on d8, it's not a problem. We can play queen on e1, queen on c5, and now queen on f2, queen on e7, and now finally rook on a3 with the preparation to double up rooks here on the a file. And as I said, this main target is now this a7. So here knight on e8 was played, bishop on f4, we have knight on g6, bishop on e3, here knight on d6, and now rook on a1, and now knight on c8. You see how Petrosyan played on the simple idea to attack this a7 pawn. And again, I'm not going to show you the whole game, I just want you to realize how passive now black's pieces are here. You see, black will have many troubles in order to make his rook connection here, so this knight will always be stuck to the defense of this a7 pawn. So that's why now we can play freely with our bishops. We can also improve the position of the knight somewhere, maybe even create some pawn breakthroughs, but that's not the point. I just wanted to say with this move, a takes b4, and then after that b5, white created here a very asymmetrical position, and it's of course a favorable game here for the bishops. So let's see now also a very nice positional brilliancy. It was a game played by Efim Geller against Valery Salov. And here Valery Salov, after the move c4, Efim Geller played the move c4, he played the move knight from b to d7. Maybe a better idea is to play the move a5, because we have here basically a position, a static position so far in the center, and the black is trying maybe to block the position on the queen side with potential knight from b to d7, and then knight on c5. And from white perspective, white of course wants to open the position for the bishops, because you see white has this slightly advantage having the bishop pair in the early stage of the game. And here Valery Salov played an inaccuracy. He played knight from b to d7, and it allows now Efim Geller to play a very nice move, a very nice prophylactical move. And you can again pause the video and try to find the best idea here for white. It's really a preventing move, not allowing black to do this blocking system, and it's of course the move b4, not allowing knight on c5, and then after that knight a5, because black hasn't played the move a5. After potential a5, now we can always play the move c3. If we would have played here maybe the move a5 immediately, you see white has to prepare this b4 move, and again we can try maybe something like knight on d7, and then wait white to do this b4 move. But at least white will need many tempos in order to make this b4 move happen. So here after b4 we have b6, and now bishop on e3, simply improving the position of the bishop. We have rook on e8, and now rook on c1, trying also maybe to create a pawn breakthrough here with the move c5. Queen on c7, we have knight on d2, bishop on f8, and now knight on b3, again with the preparation to push the pawn here on c5. a5, you see now a3, we have rook on a8, and now knight on d2. We have queen on b8. Now you see Efim Geller is going a little bit around. Now the idea is to play knight on c3, and then cement our knight on a very nice square here on b5. A takes b4, and now b5. It comes with the idea, of course, to really break the chain here, because the target is of course this d5 pawn, but again it creates an imbalanced position in which FM Geller simply pushed the pawn here on c5. We have d takes c5, b takes c5, queen takes on d5, but now very nice move here c6. You see we're pawn down, but this pawn is really dangerous. We have now the bishop pair. Of course the bishops can really support this pass pawn very well. Now the real threat is here c7, and then after that c8. So here that's why knight on c6 was played. Here we have queen takes on d5, knight takes on d5, and you see now very nice move. We have c7. Of course you cannot take, because we will first promote the queen and then take this knight. So that's why here knight on a6 was played, and now bishop on b5. You see how dangerous now these bishops were. Knight takes on c7, and here bishop takes on e8, knight takes on e8. And again, I'm not going to show you the whole game here. With up the exchange, of course white has a completely winning endgame here. So you see this, let's go back, this b4 idea, very important, not allowing black to jump here on the c5 and cement the position here on the queen side. That's why here b4 with the support of a3 later was a very nice strategical idea here by FM Geller. Let's see now a very nice game play by Anatoly Karpov against Artur Yusupov. Here you see it's really a complex position, but in order to make this prophylaxis work, you have always to consider your opponent's options, what's or your opponent's idea here. So one of the best ideas here, I think, for black is to create an outpost of the knight on c4. So because we have a very nice protection here, we have an advanced b5 pawn and also an advanced d5 pawn. So basically the idea of blacks would be to cement the knight here on c4, and if something takes the knight on c4, then we can recapture with the b pawn and then really open the b file, and it would be very dangerous here for white. So Anatoly Karpov, one of the best positional players, of course, is not allowing black to dominate on the queen side. He played first the move bishop on c2, because first of all we're creating now the simple threats where we want to take this knight and then of course recapture it with the bishop. But here that's why bishop on f5 was played, and now knight on b3 attacking the bishop. Here we have bishop on g6, knight on d4, we have bishop takes on d4, we have c takes d4, and here black tried the move a5. We have bishop on e3, we have a4, knight on d2, we have b3, and now knight takes on e4, we have a takes b2, and now rook on b1. Bishop takes, now rook on b1, and rook takes on b2, pardon me. And this is now a very important idea here of Anatoly Karpov, to simply play against this weak b5 pawn, not allowing first of all black to cement his knight on c4. If that happens, white would be losing this game for sure. So that's why he's first again creating this simple threat idea to attack this pawn on b5. Here after queen on d7, of course the threat is if you take, to create some discovered attack possibilities by the queen on the rook. So that's why it's not a good idea to take that take this immediately. So that's why bishop on d3, attacking twice this pawn. Bishop takes on d3, and now queen takes on d3. Rook on b8, of course protecting this b5 pawn, and now rook on b1. You see how Karpov is not allowing this knight on a5 idea. He creates really the simple threats here. b4 was played, and again now knight on a5 doesn't work because you lose simply this b4. So here h3 was played, h6, now rook on c1, here rook on b6 was played, queen on b1, getting the other way around, now with of course possibilities if the knight gets out somehow to play bishop on d2 and attack this d4 pawn. Rook from a to b8 was played, rook on c5, and again not allowing black to jump with his knight here on a5 and then cement the knight on c4. Knight on d8, here we have rook on c2, we have knight on c6, and now queen on c1. Rook on b7, rook on c5 again, and again knight on e7 and king on h2, simply improving the position. And now knight on f5, and this is now the position that Karpov wanted to accomplish. Now the knight is on the king side. Now this jumping knight on c4 is not so dangerous anymore, so that's why now Anatoly Karpov can play simply against this weak c7 pawns. In the continuation, rook on c2 was played, of course, attacking this pawn. We have rook on g6. There are some maybe tactical possibilities with knight on h4, and then here to attack the pawn on g2. So that's why first Anatoly Karpov takes, and here after queen on b5, white has a completely winning endgame here, because we are pawn up. We can also play against this d5 pawn, and again I'm not showing the whole game, but I want you to realize here that Karpov first played on this prophylaxis, not allowing his opponent to jump on the c4 square when the knight moved here on f5 on the other side. Now we have realistic possibilities to play really against this c7 weakness, and Anatoly Karpov played a simple idea, took the pawn, and has now a completely winning endgame here. Okay, I hope you realize these ideas. Prophylactic. First, restrict your opponent's ability to play. Then after that, targeting weaknesses, like here Karpov did the pawns. Maybe there are some weak squares, and many of these other strategical elements. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Meanwhile, you can watch my other basics in chess videos with some other opening principles, mid-game strategies, and the endgame strategies. And you can also watch my videos how to spot chess tactics, in which I show you how to recognize tactical possibilities in your own games. And you can also subscribe to my channel if you like this content. Thanks you for watching, guys, and chess is the best, of course.